Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Making Minds. Before we get into some of the details of my theories, I thought it would be a good idea to talk about some of the guiding principles behind my thinking in this area. And there's really two main principles, one of which is my goal is not to understand how a human mind works. I think a human mind is a great place to get clues and insight, but my main goal is really to figure out how could you build something that's significantly better than the human mind. And I know that might sound, awfully ambitious, but there's a famous book called Klooge that runs through a lot of the problems that a human mind has for various evolutionary reasons. For example, our memories are not very good. We forget things quite easily, and a lot of people imagine things have happened to them when they never really have. It's called false memory syndrome. Another problem is confirmation bias. When somebody wants to believe in something, they will many times just notice the things that support their belief, but they will conveniently ignore the things that actually do not support their belief. It's a weakness that almost all of us have. Or last but not least, we're very susceptible to how an argument is framed. So people will react very differently to essentially the same exact argument if it's framed as, for example, saying, I'm anti-abortion versus I am pro-life. And we're all used to that. It's used all the time in the political arena especially. So the first thing is, I really would like to try and figure out how do you build something better than the human mind. And secondly, I've got a very strong desire to simplify and unify the way that we think about the mind. For an example, many people think that the brain processes the past, the present, and the future in different areas of the brain in different ways. Whereas I believe that the past, present, and future could all be processed in exactly the same unified way. Or similarly, a lot of people think that the way that we feel an emotion related to us is processed in a different way than the way that we feel empathy towards somebody else. And people have even postulated mirror neurons as being a special brain mechanism for explaining why we feel emotions when things happen to other people. I think there's a much simpler way to explain that kind of thing. And then last but not least, any good theory about how a mind works has got to not only explain most, if not all, of typical human behaviors and features, but it's also got to have some pretty compelling answers to a lot of the classical philosophical questions. Philosophers listening will know there's things like brain in a vat, Mary's room, Chinese nation, Chinese room. All of these are names given to classic problems posed by philosophers about the nature of mind. And so I intend to give my own fun solutions to all of those particular puzzles. So that's the end of episode 8, and like I say, in episode 9, I'll start getting into some of the details of my theories. I'll see you then.